something Christmas, you
What's the name of that song?
Good King Wenceslas was found. I don't know.
I avoid trying to say the name of the song because it's something Good King Wenceslas me solasa.
Good King Wenceslas was something on us.
It's a good song. It's always stuck in my head. It's been there for probably 11 years at this point.
It's like a OCD thing. Tell me more about that song that's in your head. Wow, what a jazzy rendition.
My whistling is becoming weaker.
I know.
I need to wet my whistle. Okay, now it's your turn.
Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. Brightly shone the moon that night.
No good. I'm throwing a chair at your head like the insurance guy in that movie. With that Miles guy that nobody liked. That guy is the most insufferable.
Which guy? I thought I knew what you were talking about and then I didn't.
The insurance man.
Yeah. I call him Hank Mardukas.
Who was in that movie where that Miles guy.
Oh, the drumming thing.
Which is a good movie, but that Miles
It's a great
guy,
movie.
But that Miles man, not somebody I think you want to know.
Yeah.
When you're trying to, I sided with Insurance Man in that movie. I said, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought he just wants the best out of the students. Sure, he has some issues, but I couldn't really feel so bad for Miles Man because Miles is a jerk. Miles Teller.
What's his name?
Insurance Man?
Yeah.
His name is J.K. Simmons.
Oh, yeah. I call him Hank Mardukas because of the movie I Love You, Man, where he's the dad in that movie, and he talks about how he has two best friends, one of his sons and Hank Mardukas.
And now he's just making a shitload of money selling insurance.
Dum 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 dum.
Exactly.
Welcome to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
My name is Greg Ross. Sorry that we're delivering the show a little late this week.
Ugh.
There was a holiday, and I said, whatever, we'll put this thing out on Monday. People will listen, they won't listen. Some people may not even know that the show was released late, but for the 6 people who do like to listen as soon as it's released,
Al Brown.
I apologize. Yes, I apologize that the show was a little late. It's not that late. It'll still be released before midnight, so technically it's out on release day.
Okay, that's a good way to think of it.
Just at night, that's all.
Yeah. Sorry. Sometimes life, you know? And it's nothing serious this time.
You have my deepest, you think people think it's serious? You think all day some of those people were sitting around? Oh no. Oh yeah. No.
What happened? Something must have happened.
My favorite podcast. I was thinking about doing my own podcast called, I actually didn't know I had a name, then I forgot. I hate naming things. And now
maybe that's the name of the podcast.
Well, it slipped my mind.
I hate naming things.
Sometimes I think that we should have named our podcast something else.
Yeah?
Like Asparagus Sandwich.
What?
Because, why not? Because that's one topic, anything. Asparagus Sandwich could conceivably, it sums it up. It's like, what? What is that? They talk about anything. It's one topic per episode.
I mean, I think it would be interesting to name a podcast something odd like that. But I don't know.
Not a fan, huh? You think it's trying too hard?
It feels a little like precious. Like we are going to name our show. So I know that you wouldn't, the content that you would create in a podcast called Asparagus Sandwich would not be anything but like full of your soul. But it sounds like something that someone would do to be so like, we're going to be crazy. And we're against podcasting. We kind of do our own thing. It's still a podcast, but it's called Asparagus Sandwich. And we talk about blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
And the host would do that thing before every sentence. I think.
Oh,
Yes. Well,
like, you know, are you editing people's podcasts and you're noticing that?
I'm editing one podcast. My God. There's that.
Yeah.
There's the use of the word like. You know. Sometimes I wonder if, I know that there's crutches. I know for a while, anytime I would start to speak after you were done, I'd say, yeah. I'd start it with yeah. And I try to be mindful of that. I'm sure there are other things. I just don't listen back to our shows. And if I took it seriously, maybe I would listen back so I could take notes and figure out the things I wanted to work on. In that sense, presentation is important. Content's important, but the way you present it is also important. Saying sometimes is okay because that presents itself in natural speech, but the amount that when people actually do speak, if you listen back to most people speaking, there's a bunch of these things. Fillers, crutches. If you read transcripts, you quite often see that people are saying nothing at all. It's just a bunch of words.
Transcribing is insanity. Like just casual conversation, trying to transcribe something like that. It's wild. There's like so much fat around anything that would be considered a meat of a conversation.
And doing a podcast, the presentation is moving away from that. You can speak as people speak, and maybe they don't pick up on it, but if you refine it a bit, I think it goes a long way. So
and I think something that, so I always think of the things that I do in a semi-professional, professionally, and I was going to call this a profession. It's not, I don't know what it is, but in the line of work that I'm in, I always think that it's nothing that special that anyone could potentially do this job. Not to say that my ability to do impressions or mimicking and stuff like that's a separate. I understand that is something that might be a little bit more innate and then practiced, But as far as just speaking and talking and thinking out loud, I feel like that's something that anyone can do until you try and do that with someone who is not in that field, and you realize just how bad they are at expressing themselves or emoting anything within their voice or concise thinking. I don't know. It's shocking. It always reminds me like, oh, I actually might have like a talent a little bit,
It seems like a simple thing. A lot of people think I could do that. No big deal.
Yeah.
It's not as easy. Some people could do it. Maybe they have things to say. You have to refine it a bit. But other people don't realize that they actually have absolutely nothing to say. So doing a podcast, doing a radio show, it's not as easy as people like to think. But that comes with the territory. Anytime someone is actually good at something that seemingly on the surface is a simple thing, like not a lot of work went into that. I could just sit there and ramble also, and I should get paid for that. It takes a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
It's more detailed than that. You are a professional. You get paid to be on the radio, so you can call yourself a professional. We don't make money. So is it a hobby at that point?
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like because there is a profession behind both of us that includes this genre, then
Rip.
that I feel like it's it's something that I can't call it a profession, but it feels more than a hobby.
Well, you can say we're professionals, as I'm trying to talk about how we're professionals, stumbling over the words. But you can say that we're professionals doing this. Just because we don't make money for it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a professional product.
Yeah.
It feels weird saying that
It does.
because I feel as though there could be more time spent
Well, I also
on it.
felt weird saying like that. Oh, I'm better at explaining things in a concise way, which is something I struggle with.
We could put more work into it.
Yeah.
And if there were money involved, we probably would. If it's like, hey, this has become our job, then I would spend some time researching a bit more, forming maybe a little more focused thoughts. As it stands now, we kind of come on and just talk.
Yeah, which I like, and I hope other people like.
There were times that I would try to guide it, and I kind of gave up on that.
Did you?
I didn't give up. Sometimes I still make an attempt to do that
Yeah.
because it's going to have tangents that come into play. And I kind of want to get us from point A to point B somehow. I don't care how we get there. And then other times, and then there's some shows where I don't try that. And afterwards, I think, I don't know how good that was.
Well, anytime that you are off on a tangent and then I try and steer us back, you're like, okay, but let me just, and you always want to finish your tangent.
You can finish the tangents. No one's saying you can't finish the tangents.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
No, it always makes me laugh because when you get us back on track, I'm like, oh yeah, back on track. But when I try and get you back on track, you're like, yeah, but also my point.
because I'm more of a professional than you are. That's the bottom line.
Yes, it's true.
What I was going to say, well, going back to asparagus sandwich, I get what you're saying, and I probably would hate it if we actually decided to do that. I was thinking of another show. I can't remember what I was going to call it now, but it was just interviews. It didn't have to be famous people, but just doing interviews. And I know that this has been done before. This isn't some revolutionary idea. But the reason I bring it up is because I was listening to an interview show on public radio last night, and a guy was interviewing Christopher Lloyd, and the interviewer stunk. It was everything had to be about him. Like he would talk to Christopher Lloyd and get an answer, but turn it back around and how it applied to him or how he related to things or fanboy of Back to the Future. And I think a lot of interviewers, if you're going to be a good interviewer, take yourself out of it. Stop talking about yourself. The person you're interviewing doesn't care. Really focus on them. And you have to know how to ask questions and get things out of the person. Get them to open up and spill their guts. Dun, 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 dun. Did you get that? Did you get that reference?
No. What was that?
That was the theme for Nickelodeon Guts.
Oh, wow.
The aggro.
Did you get my genre thing earlier?
Yeah, I said
Jeopardy
I
thing?
said rip.
I didn't understand what rip was.
Alex is dead.
Oh.
That's why I said rip. I got it.
Rip.
Yeah, he's dead. Rest in peace.
No, but no one says rip.
People say rip all the time.
They do?
Yes, rip.
Is that our topic?
That's not our topic. We'll get to our topic. Anyway, I would
see?
be... I
Look,
would...
this. Oh my God, this was an example of me getting us back on track. You're like, all right, we'll get there, but still, I got more to say.
Maybe I was playing into that. Maybe I was working with you.
You're right. I should trust you. All right, go.
So here we are. Well, it's your topic, so you can introduce your topic.
Right now? You didn't want to finish your point?
What was I going to say? Interviewing is a skill. I was going to no, I'm done. That's all. I was going to say something about Eric von Hessler.
Oh.
His interviews kind of stink because he makes everything about himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't allow the person he's got on as a guest to actually speak.
Well, everything is about himself. And I'm not saying that as, something that I'm not saying it as like a huge negative. I'm just acknowledging it as a fact. It's not negative or positive. It's just true.
You're just stating the truth. Yes, that's all that's happening.
Yes, everything is about himself. So he would make a bad interviewer because he doesn't let anyone speak. And it is all about like whatever he was wanting to talk about. It's not really, he doesn't let the other person sort of lead him to the next question. But I think that I would be bad at it too, because I think I could sit and talk with someone for a long time about something. But I think with someone that I never have met before and would be a celebrity, it would be difficult because you feel like you kind of know them and then you want to ask certain questions, but then I feel like I would be really insecure, and like, oh, they probably answered this question. They've heard this before and they don't really want to talk to me. They just want to get this over with so they can go back wherever they're from. I don't know.
I would be disarming.
Yeah, you would be great at it.
I could get people to actually talk about things that were interesting, I think. Look,
I think so too.
when I joined the radio show, I realize I think about this stuff. I do tend to talk about myself, make things about myself, but I'm also a guest on that show, and that's fine. It's not my job to come on and open those floodgates and expand. Like, all right, I'm here. I'll offer things that fit that realm. Greg's here. What's going on in his head? But it bothers me sometimes. I don't want to always talk about myself. I'm sure it comes off. That guy's just constantly talking about himself.
People complain about it. Like there are open mics. They're like, "Oh, Greg," but they don't understand that it's the way that you're set up as like a character.
They're open mics, huh? Wow.
You know that they've played them for you.
Wow, open mics destroy my ego before the show. My self-confidence.
This is not news. Why are you acting like you've never heard them before?
My self-confidence sucked out of the room. What is what is our topic?
Salespeople.
Salespeople. This is the topic that you chose. You were so confident, speaking of confidence, in this topic previously when you were texting about it. Salespeople. I said, okay, cool. We'll go down that path.
I felt like this was good for you too, because I feel like you might have some pretty strong opinions about people in sales.
I have pretty strong opinions that always sum up to, I hate it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where this goes all the time. Salespeople?
It depends. So there's a lot of different types of salespeople. There are the salespeople in offices, where they have quotas to meet and they have, bonuses and, top salespeople. I feel like those are some of the worst type of salespeople.
12% of jobs in this country are sales related, which maybe doesn't sound like a lot, 12%, but there are many, many types of jobs out there. Think about this. 12% of them sales related. And so it's a good number of people. It's also a skill. It's not something I've ever been particularly good at. Not that I've necessarily tried. But if you think about it, everyone is a salesperson in their own right, selling yourself. Sure. In everyday life, you sell yourself in many different ways. Looking for a job, you're selling yourself. It's sadly gotten to the point where if you're doing something creative, you've got to sell that yourself, which is a shame because how many creative people's ideas, thoughts, art, work aren't getting out there because they're not good salespeople. That's why there's supposed to be other people who come in. Well, because
artists or people that are the talent usually don't have a lot of confidence in what they're doing.
No,
you need the salesperson to come in and like advocate for you.
There should be a shame that comes into play when you're promoting yourself. It should be the default position.
Yeah, because if you're really confident about your work, then I don't trust your work.
You can, or also you can be confident about it, but then you let it speak for itself. And the moment you have to speak to it, about it, sell it to other people. That's why there are creative people who maybe aren't the best. They're not awful, but they don't care and they are good at selling themselves, and that's why their stuff gets out there.
Yeah.
But, you meet someone in any context, not just a job, meeting someone at a restaurant, a bar, new people, friends of friends. Everyone's trying to sell themselves as something. I'm worth knowing. I'm worth talking to. Look, here I am. Here are the things I have to present. Okay. Something I even in those situations, for the longest time, I would not do it at all. I would go so far to the other side of selling myself that I don't know what anyone was getting out of talking to me. And maybe that's what I wanted, to shut down conversations.
Did you do that?
I mean, what?
Did you shut things down?
Yeah, when they're
like if someone was telling you about something they liked, you're like, I don't like that thing.
I'm sure there was a period of that. But there's people. I don't know. I was thinking of conversations. I wouldn't even have conversations when I worked in radio full time and I was on the air at 99X. One of the questions that always comes up is, "What do you do for a job?" And I didn't want to talk about it, but there'd be times that it would come up, and then I would quite often get the response, "Oh, I don't listen to radio." I don't
People
listen.
love that. You know why they say that? Because they need to they're kind of impressed, and it's a little threatening, and so they have to minimize the thing that they think is impressive.
Yeah, it's not as cool that I guess it would compared to whatever they do. But then the way
Yeah.
people drum up the things that they do, they embellish it. I'm not judging you on what you do for a living. It's the least important trade as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, like they're a cashier, but they call themselves like, recreational food ambassador or something.
Sure. I mean, if someone went that far, I would give them some kind of credit. Like, oh, you're a cashier. And somehow you've become a recreational food ambassador. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. What would that entail? What kind of cashier are they when they have the ability to call themselves a recreational food ambassador?
Well, they handle, large volumes of customers and large quantities of monetary bills. But listen, I can't write somebody's
where's
resume.
Where's the food? Where's the recreation?
That's later. Ensures the quality.
What kind of store are they working in? That's all I'm asking.
A grocery store?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just making it up.
I just wanted you to explore it a little deeper. I wanted to understand.
Yes. They're at a large edible product warehouse where customers enter and leave through the front door, but before they leave, they have to come through me, the food ambassador. What was it?
I feel as though a Chuck E. Cheese cashier, because it's recreation and it's food, and you're an ambassador for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know if Chuck E. Cheese survived COVID. It probably didn't.
I was on a mailing, like an email subscription thing for Chuck E. Cheese, and when, like, in the middle of quarantining, they sent an email saying that they deliver pizzas.
That's a shame, but they had to find a way to survive.
Yeah.
And said, look, you've got salespeople there. That's another sales type job, is when you're writing up the emails that are blasted out to try to drum up business.
And see, that's not the type of salesperson I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the people that have to sell you a product, whether it's in something like radio or if it's something like a furniture store or
But
if
you
it's
were
like
at a furniture store. This is where it stemmed from.
Yes. I was at a furniture store today, and it was a local business. There were two people in the store.
What type of furniture were you looking for?
A kitchen table.
Okay.
The kitchen table I have was purchased out of haste and necessity. I bought it out of a back of a warehouse, and it was cheap, and it's very cheap. I got a table, 3 chairs and a bench, and the bench is gone. The bench is already broken, and I'm down to one of the original chairs.
Are you leaning
and
back?
I had to go to IKEA and buy 2 separate different chairs.
Are you leaning back in the chair so it's on 2 legs, putting a lot of pressure on
No,
the
I didn't
joints?
do that, but my neighbor did, and he broke one.
Yeah, those things do tend to break.
Yeah. But anyway, so I have a little bit of
You hear them
spending
cracking.
money.
You know,
Huh?
you could hear those things cracking.
Yeah, crack.
I mean, this TV stand that I have, I bought on Overstock.com, and I went back and looked at the receipt, and I did pay $315 for it, which I guess by TV stand, it's more than that. It's a cabinet. It's not just a stand.
Okay.
And I $315, I know for furniture actually is cheap furniture,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't expect it to be this cheap. It's held together and with screws that weren't supposed to be there, and if I went and pushed it with my foot, the whole thing would collapse.
Right now, it would collapse.
It probably would collapse. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I've avoided, there's a used furniture store in Queens that I really like, because I went with someone I was dating at one point to buy something, and I really liked the selection there. But I didn't like dealing with the people. And there was a
Right.
haggling thing at the end, but they would follow you around the store and ask you what you wanted and then show you. And then that was something that I did not want to deal with.
See, but that has to work for some people, right? Like there are some customers where that is the key to their lock.
If you're asking, yes. And maybe some people don't ask. I have always felt as though there may be a time when I want your input. You know this stuff. I have questions. I'll find you. I will come to you. I will find you and talk to you when I need you.
Yeah.
I don't need you to follow me around like a puppy.
Yeah. What are you looking for today? Oh, okay. Dining room, gym. Yeah. Well, let me go through all the products with you. Like, no, leave me alone. I want to wander and ponder. And then when I need you, I'll come get you.
Since they do work on commission quite often, and in the store you went to, I would assume, is new furniture.
Yes. I would assume also that they're on commission a bit. I mean, I'm sure whatever they're making, but yeah, I'm sure they get a commission from the sale.
I wonder if you told them, hey, when I have questions or if I want to buy something, I'll come find you. If one of your friends comes up, I'll say, no, I'm working with you.
Well, that's the thing. So there were only 2 people in the store. I liked it. I think because it was like a mom and pop kind of place, that it was run a little bit differently. So he was this kind of rednecky looking guy. He had tattoos everywhere, like on his neck, on his forearms of his like kids' names and like, you know, whatever. So he just had a look about him, a little overweight, really nice, introduced himself, let me know, like, hey, my name's whatever. You know, if you need anything, let me know. I'll be over here. Cool. Thank you. And I just looked around with Ellie. We, you know, looked at everything. I found something I liked and I was like, Wayne, you know, he was like, yeah, hey. He was really like chill.
Well,
he was not pushy.
So if he was the owner, do you think he was the owner?
I don't think he was the owner because then when we were leaving, I saw him get into his very crappy, like weird old car that looked like, I don't know, like a Mustang or something, but it was really shitty looking.
Maybe
like the kind of car that would have like that eagle on the foot of the car.
The Firebird.
Yeah, Firebird.
Maybe,
but it was like maybe, it didn't run very well. It was rusty.
He just loved the car.
Sure.
So,
yeah, maybe that's why he stays rich, is because he keeps an old car.
So it
doesn't take care of his body.
It sounds like he left you alone, though. So you were there. He's a salesperson. He left you alone.
He did, and then when I needed his help, he came over and helped me, and then left. You know, and then we came back later in the day because I went to pick up Pete after school, and I was like, "Hey, you want to see the table I'm thinking about getting?" And I thought he would enjoy the store, you know, because it's a big furniture stuff. So we went over there again, and then you know, they recognized us, and he was happy to meet my son, and he was really friendly. And I was like, I talked to him about the price. He told me how much everything would be with delivery and assembly and all this stuff, and it was too much. And I was like, yeah, I really don't want to spend over this much. And he was like, He didn't really say anything. I was just standing there with my arms folded and just looking at it, thinking. And he left. He was like, hold on, let me get my calculator. He came back, and then he and he got it down like over 150 less.
You have to tip. Don't forget the tip. If they,
the drivers,
they deliver it, they bring it in, they assemble, you got a tip.
Oh, okay. How much? What do I give them?
I don't know. I don't know the rules to this. There's always tipping though.
$20.
If they build the thing, then you have to give them more than that.
Yeah.
But you also you enjoy building things yourself, so maybe don't have them build it.
I know, but I'm afraid. I could have. All right, maybe I'll just have them deliver it. I think it's like $50 for them to deliver.
Yeah,
versus $99 to deliver and assemble.
See, when there's a delivery fee also and an assembly fee, then I feel like the tipping shouldn't come into play. That's the thing.
Anyway, the point is that he was a very, like, I didn't appreciate how he looked. I didn't hold that against him, but I was like, this is odd, you know, for him to be like the face, the person that's going to like sell you that you have to trust when he just looks a certain way. Like he didn't seem like someone who took very good care of himself. But he was really nice, really professional, very sweet to the kids, and gave me a discount and left me alone.
So he sounds like he was a good salesman.
He was a great salesman.
Even though you didn't like his look.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It was just interesting for him. So I feel like he is someone in the sales field that I would not typically assume was in the sales field. When there are a lot of salespeople that don't believe in the product or whatever they're trying to sell. And like, for example, today I was looking at a table and I was like, you know what? I kind of like this one better. It was a little more money. And he was like, listen, as a salesperson, as a sales guy, I want you to get this table. but as a human to human, you have kids, and this table has these grooves in it, and the kids are going to do their homework on the table, and their pencil's going to go through it, and food's going to get stuck in there, and you're going to hate it. I was like, yeah, that's true.
He disarmed you, though. See, this is where if you're too cynical, and like, was he doing that because he was trying to side with me so then I would trust him a little more, even though it was manufactured, and buy something at all? Because maybe he was scared I would leave. But then if he presents himself as a trustworthy man,
But I wasn't giving him signs that I was leaving. I was an interested customer.
I mean, overall, it sounds like it was a good salesperson because he left you alone until you needed the help, and then he helped you and got the deal closed, and everyone was happy at the end of the day. But
it's weird, those people that, like you said, follow you around. Even if I want to be in the store and I'm interested in the store, if someone is like too helpful, I'm out. Leave me alone.
I don't know what the motivation behind that is. There are overzealous salespeople, and I would assume that most people want to be left alone a bit. Leave me alone because you feel pressure and you can't even look at things the way you want to look at things. When I just went to buy this car, the guy I bought it from owns a dealership in Connecticut. But the thing was, it's not really a dealership. It's not a lot. He's a dealer because he sells cars, but you don't go with a lot and the flags and the balloons and the dancing airman. You know, the blower is making his long...
That French fry guy?
Yeah, the cylinder body flop all over the place. It's not like that. He was a man
What are those called? Is there a word for that?
He was a man who owned a warehouse. He has a warehouse in like a commercial industrial park in the suburbs, and all the cars are in there. And I really felt as though he was a trustworthy guy. He seemed to only want to sell good cars. He really felt as though when I test drove the car, it was a stick shift. He said, "Do you know how to drive a stick shift?" I said, "It's been a while." He's like, "That's not an answer you want to give." I said, I'll remember how to do it. He's like, "You'd be surprised the number of people who come in who don't know how to drive a stick shift and try to buy a stick shift." I said, "It'll be fine." But I felt as though if I test drove it and didn't drive it well, he wouldn't have sold it to me. He was this kind of guy.
Right.
So it's not
he was going to help you. He was going to take care of you in lots of different ways.
Well, it was a guy that didn't feel like he was trying to play a game. He wasn't overbearing. But the fact he was just standing there when I was looking at the car and I was like I wanted to look at like all I felt pressure and I didn't look at it as closely as I should have. Because he was just standing there.
They should leave you alone with the product so that you can inspect it in the weird way that you want.
Yeah. So having a person over your shoulder, I don't know who that works on. Some people may feel the pressure so much that they give in and they buy the product.
Oh yeah, maybe that. Or maybe if the salesperson left, they'd be like, "Well, that guy just abandoned me here."
Possibly.
Or like if a salesperson isn't pushy, they'd be like, "Well, I guess they don't want my money because they're not even here to help me."
Some people do act like that. And I'm not saying that if you're going into a store, you should be completely left alone. You should be acknowledged and just...
Yeah. I think it's an important skill for the salesperson to be able to read a person. Because when I was a waitress, I feel like, I mean, maybe I wasn't, maybe I didn't always hit the mark, but I felt like I was good at reading the table. Like, are you the type of table who wants me to dance? And like, you're having a party and we're going to have a party and I'm going to help you have a party? Or are you the type of table where I secretly refill your waters? You didn't even know.
It feels that
I dropped the check without them even asking because I just know they're ready and they don't even have to ask. Like all of a sudden the check's there.
It's interesting you say that because thinking about me being in a situation where I was selling something, I probably could be a good salesperson.
I think you could too.
My approach would be, I'm going to give it to you straight. No bullshit here. But I wouldn't even present it that way. I could do it subtly. We were talking earlier, I'm not a good salesperson myself. It just feels gross to sell yourself. Here's how great I am. Here's why I'm wonderful. I don't like doing that. But I guess if I were selling a product, I could be good at it. I don't want to.
You'd have to believe in it, though.
I don't want to, though, because then the whole pursuit is I just want your money, and here's a product. Believing in it is important.
Yeah, but no. Because if you believed in the product, then you would truly feel like you were helping the people and that making money from it was just a separate thing.
Possibly. If it's something that someone really needed, but how many things do people need?
It's not necessarily a need thing. It could just be like, let's say you worked at MAC, like at the mall, the makeup place, and you really believed in the products you were selling. People walked into the store. You didn't like get them from the mall and tell them to come in. Not like those assholes in the islands in the middle of the aisle were like, come here. You need lotion on your hands. Smell this lotion. Get out of here. Those people are pushy.
But overall,
Those,
all these things are things that aren't needed. Most things that are sold, part of the sales job is to convince a person that they need it. Their life is going to be better with it. And that's the hard part for me because that's the lie. No, look, you don't need this.
Okay, that's a different thing.
You don't need the curtains. You don't need the new hand mixer.
But
You
people
don't-
walked in looking for something specific. Okay, so that's the difference. That's the difference. If you're talking about like working at a sales company where you have to pretend that this product is something that people actually need when you know that they don't, and you have to try and get people to buy something that they're not actually really interested in, but then you trick them into thinking they actually need it, that's a whole different thing. But if you work at a store, or if you work for a product that people seek out, come to you, and then you make money off of, selling them something, but you actually believe in what it is, then I think that you would be really great at that, because you'd be like, no, you don't need this. This thing, it says this, it's not really that. This is the thing.
There's
It's
code.
a little cheaper. This one's more expensive. It says it's better, but it's actually not. This cheaper one is, and then they're like, oh shit, he's selling me the cheaper thing.
Yeah, it's all consumerism though, and that's hard for me to be involved in on that level. I wouldn't want to do it. So maybe I could be good at it. Two separate things. I was sales associate at PacSun, Pacific Sunwear. And I used to get reprimanded because I wasn't approaching the customers enough, trying to help them. They're looking for a shirt. You know what would go great with that shirt? These Etnies shoes. I'm not doing any of that. I don't know fashion that well. God knows if you look at the pictures of me from those days. So I don't even feel confident in putting together an outfit for someone. And I don't want to do that. These people know what they want. And maybe, I'm sure that if you push people or you recommend things, maybe they would buy things. But honestly, I don't have much interest in helping you make more money. And that's why I said, let me stock or let me work the register.
Yeah, did you make money off of sales?
No commission at all. So
Well, then what kind of point, what kind of motivation was that for you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're paying me $5 an hour. It was $5.
I think if I were you, I'd be like, the most I can do is tell them something's on sale. Shoes are on sale. I'll be over here.
But I can see how some people, again, there's a code, I think, with salespeople. In this kind, there's some people who manipulate and other people who persuade, and there is a difference. I do think there are some psychos who get into it because they love manipulating people, and it's a way for them to put those skills to test. And persuasion.
And you can smell those salesmen. Don't you think? They give me a feeling, even if they're not. I'm thinking of radio. I feel like I've met plenty of salespeople who just feel
that's a whole different
nasty
thing. The moment you get into sales, and so we're out of retail sales now and going into commercial advertising sales, commercial radio, you're selling a product that's not tangible. It's hard. It's a tougher thing to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're working for a station where the ratings stink and the content's no good. And at that point, you are manipulating people in some way because you can't honestly believe them spending their money on that station is good for their business.
It's going to benefit their company.
And there are people, as businesses like that overall, I assume any kind of sales associated with media draws a different type of person too, a person who wants to be close to the action. There's a level of not notoriety, but
prestige.
Because it's public facing, and there's people around who the radio show, for example. People know all of you on the show, and then there's people who sell that show, and I'm sure that some of those people talk about how they sell that show. And I see Eric around the halls. I talk to him all the time.
Right.
And I think that's a lore. And then
also, you know what someone tells them? I don't listen to radio.
Yes. And then, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
There was a sales guy in radio once when I worked at 99X. He came into the studio. And from the studio, you could see this tall tower of condos. He said, you see that tower there? I said, yeah. He's like, I live at the top. It's like, okay, great, cool. But it meant something to him.
Yeah.
There's also the ability to make money because on a well, I don't know how it works anymore, but the heyday of these mediums, there was a lot of money to be had. And if you're working on commission and you're selling a lot of advertising, you're going to make a lot of money. And so I think that also, it's a chicken or the egg. Does the person who wants a lot of money, are they already an asshole, or does the money make them an asshole? I don't know. Probably a mix of the two.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a mix, but it feels like the first one.
But there surely are some sleazeballs. And yes, you can.
But they could be in any industry.
You can sniff them out.
Selling. Yeah. They could sell ice, popsicle to an Eskimo. Like those assholes.
Well, and
it's like, don't trick Eskimos into buying popsicles. How about you just believe in what you're doing and think that it's a better idea for everyone, because you'll make money and then they'll also hopefully make money instead of being a sleaze bag.
The job probably does lure people like that out. Not everyone, obviously, who works in sales is a bad person, but
no,
if you're getting into it and you get off on manipulating people, then I'm sure that that's why you see quite a few people like that, those kind of personalities in sales, which is a shame. But also, like you said, it usually does seem pretty obvious. So these people's egos are growing because they fooled someone who was dumb. It's like, oh, good for you. I applaud.
Yeah, well, like the guy telling you that he lives at the top of the tower or whatever.
I just okay.
I mean, first of all, that's if that's a priority for you, or if that has some meaning, is that if that's like, if you're assigning that to like your personality, that you live on top of a building, like, who gives a shit? And then also, you should be able to read this person. Do you know? Are you selling for the station? Do you know Greg Russ? Do you think that he's interested in where you live? Do you think that he's impressed? You're supposed to know the DJs. Are you selling? Are you trying to say that, like, you know this person and you're selling the station?
Well, that's part of the problem if you want to talk about radio sales, is they should be selling the people on the air, but quite often they're not. They're just taking the easiest path. The path of least resistance. This is the way it's done.
I know it.
I didn't know if you wanted to go there or not.
I sure do.
It is kind of a shame. It's a highly rated show. It shouldn't be that difficult to sell the people on the show. But the money, it's tough right now. COVID, and we can't schmooze our clients by taking them out for meals and drinks. So let's just do the things that keep the money flowing. I mean, that's a whole thing with sales too. The fact that it's just understood. I'm going to take out the client and I'm going to spend $1,000 on a steak dinner, and that's just the way this is going to work.
I would hate that. I would hate that as a salesperson. Like, oh, I gotta go to dinner with these people. I have to pretend all this stuff. I have to like pretend that I'm interested in like their daughter's softball team or something.
They're spending money with you, a lot of money.
I would just be like, I just want to go home.
You have to show them that you care. Think about the traveling sales.
They get off on it. Maybe you're right. Maybe they love it.
I think some people do like that, and especially.
And then it translates into their real life.
You have an expense
I gotta
account.
sell this guy and how cool I am. I live on top of the tower.
You have an expense account. You get to go out and spend the company's money. I do think a lot of people enjoy the aspects of it. Some people do just like that dynamic in general, and it's hard for me to understand. So I don't. It's a thing I never had any interest in partaking in.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want a company credit card.
Well, I mean, I always felt as though sales was the enemy, and it shouldn't have been that way. But in radio, sales felt as though they were quite often trying to dictate the content. Radio stations used to are run by the structure usually is a general manager oversees everything, all operations, all content, sales, everything that happens in a station. And usually that was a person who came from programming. And at some point that changed, and the general managers started to be salespeople. And they had no creative vision. They
just kind of like fell into the job, right? A lot of times.
I mean, I don't say they fell into, they earned it, but it's just the importance and the outlook and how to get money for the station. The best way to do that changed. And to me, it's a pretty simple structure. Have good content, have good programming. Ratings are there, you sell. Not that difficult. Right? It shouldn't be so hard. No. But it changed. It's like, okay, well, salespeople are running it now, and the content is coming second. We're going to maybe dictate the content a little bit, or this
Right.
client.
Like I can only sell to this company or this. I can only sell it if the product maintains this certain thing that's outside of what the product actually is.
The clients,
Or maybe it's inside what the product actually is.
yeah, and the clients at times would have some say in the content. I mean,
Yeah, that
it was-
Decker's too weird. I don't want him selling my chicken wings.
well, that's different. If you don't want me to do an endorsement, then don't have me do an endorsement. If you're getting ratings and some advertisers want to pull out, hopefully the demand is there. More people want to be on the show because you've got a good reach,
Yeah.
and that's fine. This has always been the case with commercial content of any sort, though. Even, public underwritten radio and TV, where it's not direct advertising. It's like the people who are spending the money that we underwrote the show presented by quite often. I don't know if you'd see that on PBS.
Sure,
They
yeah.
still have say. But a good salesperson, I would think, believes, you want them to believe in the product that they're selling. They're selling the content on the air, the programming. And there are ways around that. Put in a little more work. Go find new clients. Find someone who wants to be there. Someone who believes in what's on the air.
I don't think that I could do a job like that. I think I could work more as in a retail situation. Not like at PacSun, but like I said, like at a specific store, like a makeup thing, like if that's what I was really into, or if I was just into, if I really believed in the product that I was selling, and the people sought it out, I didn't have to go seek them. I think that I could do a great job.
I think you could too. You're personable.
Yeah. I would definitely not try and sell them some bullshit, more expensive thing just so I could get the commission. If I hated the person, like if they were shitty, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to sell the shit out of garbage to them. As long as it's expensive, they'll like it and I'll get a bunch of money from them. But if if they were like, I would never try and like take advantage of like the normal person.
I think about people. I mentioned this, but then we still
Where other people would see that normal person as like prey. Like, oh, sucker.
Well, this kind of leads into, think of when there were traveling salesmen who would, like cold calls. That's what they're doing. They're just knocking on people's doors.
God.
The level of rejection you face doing that job would crush most people.
God, and you're just like schlepping something around like a vacuum cleaner or something.
But there's something about just showing up when a person didn't even come to you and getting them to buy something. I think that some people get off to. They do feel as though, yeah, I really did it. It's the same thing. Telemarketers, I have no clue how that ever worked. I'm sure, too, that they knew. It was just sheer numbers. Like most people.
Yeah, it's just a wide net.
Yeah, if you get 2% of the people, it's worth it somehow. And the people who do that, some people just do that. It's a job, and okay. And I don't think they lasted very long, and they hated it. Like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah, my cousin worked at like a cold calling sales thing once, and he was really good at it, and he hated it because he felt really bad. So he left really quickly.
Yeah, because that is invading someone's life,
Yeah.
their existence. Like, here's this thing, you want to buy this thing? Where did you come from? Who are you? And it the traveling salesman's gone now, and the way sales just in general, even retail sales or stores, people are going in less and less because of all the stuff that's happening online. So now you're not dealing with salespeople. Sometimes they have those chat with me. I'm here. It's just a bot for a bit until
bot,
you have
yeah.
to work your way to get to an actual person. But I'm surprised that there's not more chat boxes that pop up and people just start spamming you with, hey, I'm here. Hey, talk to me. What are you looking at? I see what you're looking at. They know what pages you're clicking on. How creepy would that be? I see you they know that you spent 3.5 minutes looking at this table online and you only spent 2.5 minutes on this one. Let me tell you on the one that you only spent 2.5 minutes.
Oh, I'm
looking
assuming that I'm going to get a ton of weird targeted ads on like Instagram or Facebook.
Oh, you will get that. And that's
Yeah.
algorithms too. It is surprising to me that we don't have more people just when you're on the site, you chose to go to the site. This is someone who works at that site, and they pop up and they try to push you in one direction. The way things have shifted, though, there's still tricks that are thrown out there, this manipulation. And again, a bad salesperson will manipulate you, and I do think there's people who try not to manipulate. But it's a little less morally gray, I guess, when you're just seeing text on websites that say things, like 2 seats left, say you're booking a flight, or 5 left in stock. I don't believe that for a second.
Only 2 left in stock and it's on sale.
But there is something, people, when they see that, they go, oh my God, I got to get this because something.
Oh, or do you ever see the one where like the time is going? Where like this product is only available for this amount of time?
Yes. You've got the timer.
And you remember that used to be on commercials. Like call in the next 5 seconds and you'll get 15% off.
Yeah, or the what were they called? The extended commercials. I can't remember what they're called now.
Yep. They're called
Infomercials.
Infomercials.
Yeah, those things. You got to call within the time span of the infomercial itself.
Yeah, and you'll get a 3rd sandwich pocket maker.
But I mean, a lot of these websites is like, yes, 13 hours left. Here's a promo code. Don't use this. Don't miss out. And then if you come back in 2 days, there's a new one.
Oh, Greg, the jewels, the selling of the jewels on the jewelry channel,
the Gem Shopping Network.
Yes. And how they act, how like they say like, okay, here's this very expensive, very beautiful piece of jewelry. It's this and that. Here's all the stats. It's $15,000, $15,000. This ring is whatever. What? Jim, what? What do you say? No, that can't be right. No. Jim, are you sure? Did you check with the bosses? Did you check with them? Bosses aren't going to like this. $79.99 for the next 5 minutes. This is on sale for $15,000 down to $79.99.
And I guess that works on some people.
Only 15 minutes for this sale. The bosses are going to have a shit fit. I guess they don't say shit fit.
That tactic is, it's been around. You lean into it. Oh God, this is the deal that I can't pass up. I have to act now.
It was $15,000. Now it's only $80.
Well, that's the funny thing with the gem shopping. It's just, here's a gem, $80,000, but we're gonna let's open it to auction. We're gonna open it to auction right now, and then people apparently are calling in.
We'll start it like he's like. I think don't they say like we'll start at a really high number, and then they're like I think they tell them like go lower.
Yeah, the fake person, the supervisor off the screen who, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I can't believe it. Okay, fine. If you insist, let's open the auction at $100.
Ugh, you guys, $100 for this is a crime.
But these, that's an extreme example because I just don't, I know home shopping and QVC were pretty big in the day. That spawned a whole different kind of beast. You had a TV personality who also was a salesperson.
Lisa Rinna. And she sold those dusters. She made millions.
Ron Pompei. I love that was the set it and forget it rotisserie chicken.
Ron Popeil.
Oh yeah, that's it. Not the volcano.
Not Pompeii.
Popeil.
Ron Popeil, right? Set it and forget it. And also spray this hairspray. Spray this, spray paint on your bald head. And
I think I would watch his stuff.
Loved him. He had a weird monster face, kind of.
There is a Ron Pompei, but this is a American designer.
Okay.
Popeil. I thought he was great. This Popeil.
Yeah.
Right. What was his
name? And now it's that
name?
lady.
Ron Popeil. Set it and forget it. You can talk about the lady.
The lady, the lady with the red hair that's like all poofed out, and she has the long nails, and she sells like the copper pans and the dump cakes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Love her.
There was one night I was stoned and I watched one of those copper pan infomercials. I was
they burnt cheese on it, slid right off.
I was in a hotel room in suburban Boston. at a sad Comic-Con. And it just, everything came together, and I thought of people sitting up at night watching that and actually buying it, and what kind of life they had, filling a hole with making a purchase. This is a lot of the times what salespeople, at least the bad ones, will lean into. It's like, you're pathetic, but this thing will give you a little burst of dopamine by buying something. It's not going to actually do anything. In 2 weeks, it'll be thrown in a drawer in the back of the closet, or you won't even remember that you have it. But hey, you're pathetic.
Or you'll find out pretty quick that it is not as nonstick as you thought.
Yeah, I assume that too. That was the problem with the made-for-TV stuff. It never was as good as it was presented as, which was strange to me. It's like, why just be honest about it? Like the man who has the spray that fills cracks and he makes the screen door boat by
that guy, the fake, like the poor man's Billy Mays.
Yeah, Rip. See, I got to use Rip twice, Billy Mays.
Yeah,
he was another one though.
He died of a quote concussion from turbulence.
I mean, that goes to show that if you're personable, and you're a character of some sort and likable, that you can be very good at this. And that's not some great insight. It makes perfect sense. It was just, I think we're losing a lot of those people. There's just not a place for them to live anymore.
The slap chop guy. Remember the slap chop guy?
Yeah.
Didn't he like molest someone or something?
I don't know what happened to him.
Something happened to him.
Why did he disappear? That is interesting.
I think he molested. I think he sexually assaulted someone.
Vince Offer, ShamWow guy, slap chop guy.
Hi, it's Vince with slap chop.
Why did the slap chop guy go to jail? Well, no, I'll answer.
You can slap your troubles away with the slap chop.
He said it happened after a 12-hour drinking binge. According to the police report, the woman bit his tongue and wouldn't let go. He struck her with his fists.
Oh, shit.
So it was aggravated battery.
Oh.
She bit his tongue. I mean, if someone bit my tongue, I don't know what I would do. But that was the end of him.
Do you remember Real World London, where that rock and roll guy made out with he was like singing at a show and he leaned down and like kissed a dude and then the dude bit half his tongue off? No. Oh.
I didn't watch Real World London, I'm sorry to say.
No, it was good.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I just don't know many other tongue biting stories.
I'm sure there are plenty out there.
The ShamWow was very impressive. I believed in the ShamWow.
People bite their own tongues off all the time by accident. It's easy to do. Yeah, if you fall.
It's such a big muscle.
Yeah, but you can chop right through it.
With enough force on your lower jaw, I would have, yeah.
The one thing that's going to be interesting is as we get older, salespeople are going to care about us less. They target, right now millennials are targeted, but Gen Z's old enough now where they got some money, and this is what a lot of the people are turning towards. And then you realize you're not wanted anymore because people aren't.
I remember my parents saying that, like, this isn't for us. Like, they're not making things for us. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's going to be a real. I'm going to long for the days. Why aren't the salespeople bothering me anymore? Please.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah, give me nostalgia. I want nostalgia.
You're just not.
Where's my nostalgia? Gen Z nostalgia?
Because we're not selling you a lifestyle anymore. It's not just a product. It's a lifestyle that's being sold quite often. And you're too old. You got no lifestyle. You're not doing anything.
You're passé.
We don't need you.
You may as well just be dead.
Your money's going to the copper pan in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
This is
a third copper pan in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, the fact that you always had to buy more than one. They were always so shady. There was no reason for this. And this is the practice. Like, quite often you would buy things and there'd be some kind of subscription attached to it that you had no clue of. And then trying to end that.
Oh.
There was someone I knew who bought like Wen. Remember the Wen hair products?
Yes. That's not shampoo.
You bought shampoo, but surprise, it's a subscription and we're sending it to you every month. And you try to cancel it, and it took us 6 months to process that. So we got 6 more months of payments out of you. And I think Wen was ripping hair out of people's heads.
I think that there was a lawsuit against Wen.
It's absolutely insane. Anything that was sold on TV, for the most part, I don't even want the one because it's a piece of shit. And yes, you're offering me two, but it's such a great deal. How can I pass that up? Two for the price of one. And the shipping and handling always was, look, you're getting the product for $12 when it should be $180. Shipping and handling, $75. What the fuck?
The Wonder Mop has a $80 shipping and handling.
Processing fee.
Oh, yeah.
So
Remember when commercials used to say no CODs?
yeah, cash on delivery.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pay when it shows up, which I guess at some point was a thing.
Like, just answer the door with a gun. Give me my thing.
when you had people, I guess, who worked for the company who bring the product directly to you. But this is kind of the stuff maybe somewhere tainted my idea of sales. I didn't trust any of it because at some point
there is an untrustworthy element to selling.
At some point I think I bought something from the catalog, things you never knew existed. And not that these were supposed to be good items. They were junk. And you knew they were junk. But it was so much junkier than I thought it was going to be.
Really?
And I felt scammed. And that's why there's no need for that. Just sell what you're actually selling. I think
But if you're not,
if you're a good salesperson selling a good product, it shouldn't be that difficult. But most of the time, it's like I gotta fool you into thinking it's better than it really is, and this is
it turns into, like you said, like an ego-driven thing where instead of having sort of sympathy for someone who is an easy target and not taking advantage of them, you see that as like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck them over because they're idiots.
Because at that point, it's just about making money. Ultimately, though, there are some people who probably get joy out of fucking a person over. Like, yeah. Best of both worlds. I got some cash, and that person looks like a fucking fool. I have shown my superiority. I am a better human than they ever.
How do you like me now, Dad?
That's what it all goes back to. They weren't loved.
Parents.
They just needed to be loved. Every sucker out there is just a stand-in for Pop. For the Pop who wasn't around, or the Pop who treated me like...
Pop validated my emotional being a little bit more.
Well, maybe we can become better salespeople and sell this show.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Neither do I, and that's why it exists as it exists, and I'm fine with that.
Me too. I'm fine with it too. I hope you're fine with it. Thanks for listening. I hope we sold you on this show.
Well, let's see how. Here's the end of the show where you try to sell your friend's hot sauce and you stink at it.
Do you like hot sauce? I do. I know I do. Get you some delicious hot sauce from hoffandpepper.com. They have many sauces to choose from, including rubs, green sauces, and barbecue. Even sauces made with coffee, local Chattanooga coffee. It's amazing. Go to hoffandpepper.com. Use the code ONETOPIC15 for 15% off. And enjoy your life with some better hot sauce than other hot sauces. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Autumn.
Do you like hot sauce?
You know, I do like hot sauce, but I'm getting pretty bored of my regular Texas Pete or Tabasco. I'm looking for a local sauce without any additives or extracts. A company that uses local peppers so it's as fresh as possible, and a company that really cares about the integrity of the sauce and where their ingredients come from.
Definitely.
And hey, while we're at it, I don't want a sauce with too many ingredients. You know, a lot of other sauces out there, they have all kinds of fillers. So I'd love to find a sauce with, I don't know, what? Let's say no more than 5 ingredients. I mean, it's crazy, but there's gotta be a company out there that hand processes their sauce. You know, bottling and labeling every bottle themselves. I'm probably asking a lot.
Well, you really are, but there is a hot sauce out there who only uses 5 ingredients.
What?
0 fillers, additives, or extracts, and who bottles, labels, and packages everything themselves. It's called Hoff Sauce.
What?
They're a small batch hot sauce company out of Chattanooga, Tennessee that's won best Louisiana-style sauce in the country. How many times? Not once, not twice, 3 times.
3 times!
How does that sound, Greg?
I think that sounds amazing.
You know how you can get your own bottle of hot sauce?
No, tell me please now.
Hoffandpepper.com. And not only am I giving you the gift of the best hot sauce that you'll ever taste, I'm going to give you 15% off if you use the code ONETOPIC15.
Hold on, that's
Yes, get a pen and paper.
1 topic 15.
Good. That's ONETOPIC 15, all squished together at checkout. You'll get 15% off your order and your life will be better.
Thank you.
You're welcome.